Many thanks for joining us here on JoyNews Today. We're live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. We're streaming live on all our social media platforms. We're JoyNews on TV. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, the Electoral Commission dispute claims the electoral body failed to hold IPAC meetings before the commencement of the limited voters registration exercise. We'll hear from the EC, which says 2 IPAC meetings were held and all political parties were in attendance.
Well, I want to put on record that we had one in March and the last one was on the 9th of April.
Also in this bulletin, Ghana Union of Traders Association sounding the alarm over the rapid depreciation of the cedi, which coupled with the soaring freight charges is negatively affecting the business community. And later in our field exhibition, we'll take you to Abuabo Old Railway Lorry Station in Kumasi, where the area is swimming in rubbish.
It's not us, the traders. The gutters are choked with waste from residents around.
Thanks for choosing us for your home of independent, fearless, incredible journalism. Take a seat, be my guest. We start with the New Patriotic Party's flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who says his statement about incentivizing churches instead of imposing taxes on them has been taken out of context. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia stated during a meeting with the clergy in Borno region that his administration, if elected president, plans to ensure churches undertake developmental projects rather than imposing taxes on them. Let's listen to him first.
Then the question is church and taxes. Are we going to tax churches? My view on this is simple. In fact, that's why I say that if you share a Juma church, in fact, we should rather be paying them rather than they paying us. Unless you don't understand the work the church has done. If you're looking at the buildings, the way they try to keep the society together, the universities, the hospitals, the schools, it's massive. It's just massive. Many churches have hundreds of schools. Massive. So I don't see, and I will not have a situation where we are taxing the churches. We rather want to give churches incentives to support what government is doing. I want us to be partners in the way that the development partners are with us. You are our domestic development partners, and we will give you incentives to do more.
Well, that was Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, flag bearer for the NPP. We'll get reaction from the opposition NDC shortly. But before that, the Electoral Commission is alarmed at the extent to which political parties are facilitating the registration of foreigners and minors in the ongoing voters registration exercise. At a press conference held on Monday, the Commission demanded swifter and firmer action from the police to deal with the threat. There's more in this report by my colleague Michael Ashali.
Deputy Commissioner at the EC, Dr. Bosman Asari, says it is alarmed by the attempts by some persons to get minors enrolled onto the electoral roll, which it says is partly fueled by the use of the guarantor system of identification.
We continue to receive reports that minors and non-Ghanaians are being encouraged by certain persons who are members of political parties to register as voters. The Commission has seen a report from the Western region, specifically in Impoho, where some 2 persons who allegedly facilitated the registration of 5 minors have been apprehended by the police. We wish to use this opportunity to urge parents especially to dissuade their children who are less than 18 years from registering as voters. Similarly, we beseech the national leadership of the political parties to discourage the executives in the regions and the constituencies from transporting minors and foreigners to the registration centers. The objective of the Commission, as always, has been to have a credible register for the 2024 elections and beyond. We believe the political parties, as the main stakeholders in the general election, must be dedicated to supporting a credible register as well. As a result, we find attempts by parties to support the registration of minors and foreigners as completely unacceptable, and it is aimed at undermining the country's electoral democracy. We urge the police to apply the laws on those who have been apprehended to serve as a deterrent to others in the enterprise of facilitating the registration of minors and foreigners.
The Commission believes the solution to these problems will be to use the Ghana card as the only mode of identification.
We have also noticed that the disturbances occurring at some of our registration centers is due to the fact that some people are doubting the ages of some of the applicants. This is the reason why the Commission has been advocating for the usage of the Ghana card, which has the date of birth and the nationality of the bearers of the card, and the abolition of the guarantor system. We are hopeful that in the next registration exercise, applicants will use the Ghana card as the means of identification. The guarantor system continues to dominate the forms of identification used in the 2024 registration exercise, as in the 2023 exercise. This is something the Commission is not proud of because it is used by political parties and certain persons to facilitate the registration of unqualified persons, such as minors and foreigners. The current confusion at the registration centers is attributable to the guarantor system, because we are seeing many people who others are alleging they are minors and they are trying to register, and others are also insisting that we think you are not 18 years.
The Commission also rejected claims it was discriminating against some groups.
The Commission has no intention of favoring any particular regions, constituencies, or zones in this registration exercise. All such commentaries implying that the Commission has sent bad equipment to certain parts of the country, or frustrating the registration exercise in some regions or constituencies are championed by persons who are completely ignorant of the processes of the Electoral Commission. It's unfortunate that some will accuse the Commission of discriminating against a section of Ghanaians in the registration exercise. We wish to use this medium to again assure all Ghanaians that the Commission is committed to ensuring that all qualified persons get onto the voters' register and vote in the December 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections.
Although the Commission has already apologized for the wrong tabulations which happened over the weekend, they insist that it is not a major issue. However, they have taken steps to ensure it does not happen again.
Clearly, you can see the real figures were correct, but the disaggregation of the various days, so I don't see this as anything which is so major for people to make a beef about. The bigger picture, the total registered at the time, about 143 was also captured correctly.
Although the NDC has instructed their agents on the grounds to record every serial number of every machine used, the EC insists they will not share these numbers with any political party.
We won't make the serial numbers available to any persons or any political parties. So if the parties strongly believe that they have a way of getting it, this is a democratic society, so they can go ahead and get it. But the EC will not make anything available, and we've made it that very, very clear in our statement. So that will not be made available to the political parties.
The Electoral Commission says they are on course to register more than 600,000 individuals. For JoyNews, Michael Ashali.
Let's stay with the Electoral Commission because they have disputed claims that the electoral body failed to hold IPAC meetings before the commencement of the limited voters registration exercise. Director of Electoral Service at the EC, Dr. Sribo Kweku, spoke to me earlier on Newsdesk.
Right. I want to put on record that we had one in March, and the last one was on the 9th of April. On the 9th of April. And the regions and the districts also had theirs the Thursday and Friday preceding the registration. So the national one, the last one was held on the 9th of April, which was less than a month to the registration. I don't believe anybody will say that there was no IPAC meeting. I don't know if anybody asks you of the serial number of your phone, will you give it out?
No, certainly not.
Exactly, so the same thing applies. Because I am not an IT person, but the IT people will tell you that you don't share the serial numbers of your gadget with people. So it has never been done since 2012 that we started using biometrics. We don't share with the political parties because we are told that the security of the system could be compromised, so not.
Is the power situation, the intermittent power cuts, is it affecting the registration process?
We ask our officers to hire generators as standby.
Okay.
So you don't wait for the power to go off before you be looking for the standby. So far, I don't think I've not heard of anybody not being able to control the station because of power outage.
Dr. Sribokweku there, he's Director of Electoral Services at the EC. Well, we are working the lines. We're working the lines to see if we can get the Deputy General Secretary for the NDC. They have raised some concerns, which we would like to hear them. But let's do some other stories now whilst we wait for Mustafa Gand to join the conversation. Terrorists from the Sahel visit Ghana, use our hospitals, and return unharmed and unarrested. Well, those are the words of Ghana's ambassador to Burkina Faso, Boniface Gambila, speaking on the sidelines of an event in the Upper East region. He assured that government of Ghana and Burkina Faso are collaborating to deal with the situation.
Threat is in the north between Burkina and Niger and Mali, and then to the east, the northeast, and then to the west. That is where the terrorist movement occurs most. And believe it or not, they are able to come into Ghana and go back.
With the terrorists?
Yes, they move in and go back.
They move into Ghana now?
Yes, and they roam.
Okay.
They come to our hospitals and go back. But governments are working at that. It's not something we need to dilate so much about, you know. So they also know that because when they are attacked north, northeast, west, they think that they have a safe haven coming down south of Burkina. So they come as far as to our frontiers, and we need to be careful.
Well, he says 7 Ghanaians who went missing after entering Burkina Faso last year are yet to be found. He cautions persons who want to travel to the country to use approved routes. He says the two countries are still working together to find the missing persons.
The important message I have for our people, particularly along the borders, and for all of us, if you are moving into Burkina Faso, move in the formal way. Go through the due process expected of you. If you just move in, you are in a danger zone, because Burkina, we say, is a danger zone. So our people, especially those within the border towns, okay, Boku, Paga, and all the Hamili areas and all that, I want to sound this important message. Don't just get up because as our normal things like we are one, we know we have relatives across. So don't just get up as usual, walk in and walk out. Especially there are certain areas that both governments are monitoring because of the jihadists around there. So if you walk along or move along that route, you become a suspect and anything can happen to you. It has happened and we don't want it to happen again.
Recently?
Yes, over the period it has been happening. Okay. We have problems where our people, their people cross and we have challenges.
Any of such happened in recent times?
Yeah, at the moment we have about 7 Ghanaians. We don't know where they are now yet. We are still finding out.
When did they go missing?
Last year, from Boku end. And we are still finding out where they are.
So 7 of them?
Yes, 7 to 9 of them.
Okay. They came,
earlier two Fulani cattle carriers were killed. The other citizens, we are still finding out where they are.
7 of them?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, from Boku.
They got missing last year?
Yes.
Okay.
They are missing. They are alleged to be missing.
After they entered Burkina Faso?
Yes, they entered Burkina Faso to trace their cattle. So government to government is working at that to find out where they are. We have people who are under the detention of Burkina Faso. And the governments have to work together because they have been seen in terms of movement. In terms of movement, they've been seen so much in terms of movement. And like I said, don't just walk into Burkina Faso as usual. No matter your relatives across the border, don't just walk in as usual. If you go in, go through the proper route to be safe. Let us know you are coming in, you are going out. Yes, both sides. It's important.
Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo has come under fire from the opposition NDC for heaping praises on President Akufo-Addo while addressing the International Association of Women Judges Conference in Accra. The Chief Justice described the president as a champion of rule of law and justice. Listen.
We are especially grateful to His Excellency the President for the strong support we have received from the Office of the President. The culmination of this support is the presence of His Excellency with us this morning, who will be officially opening this conference. His Excellency is a lawyer and champion of justice, and his name is definitely etched in the legal history of this country as a most distinguished legal practitioner. His belief in the rule of law has been evident during his tenure as president, and the Judicial Service of Ghana has been a happy beneficiary of exceptional levels of physical and technological infrastructure during this period. Your Excellency, we are grateful.
But the NDC says the Chief Justice, who is head of the judiciary, should not be seen or heard making such comments about a political figure, describing the praises as unmerited and baseless. The National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Jemfi, insists the president, under whose tenure a sitting court was attacked without any punitive consequences, cannot be described as a champion of rule of law.
Well, that position is a very comical and ridiculous position, and should not be coming from a person who occupies such an important independent office in our country. I'm sure that President Akufo-Addo himself will disagree with this false, contrived testimony about him coming from the Chief Justice, because he knows that he has not been a good example of the rule of law, but a very, very bad example. We're talking about a president who has been found by the Supreme Court to have removed a sitting Auditor General against the dictates of the Constitution of Ghana. And our Chief Justice says what? That this president who supervised all these atrocities is an example of the rule of law. What kind of sycophantic, bootlicking, false narrative should be reserved for MPP full soldiers and should not be coming from the high office of Chief Justice? Somebody should remind the Chief Justice that it was under President Akufo-Addo that for the first time in the history of this country, hoodlums belonging to a political party, specifically his political party, the New Patriotic Party, attacked a court of competent jurisdiction while the court was sitting and hearing a matter. They attacked the court, woke out persons who were in lawful custody in the cells of the court. In the process, a pregnant judge who was presiding at the time had to flee for her life. When these people were arrested, these hoodlums of the NPP were arrested, they had to be prosecuted and punished. The president ordered his attorney general to enter nolli prosequi, and to date, those MPP terrorists have been left off the hook. Clearly, this cannot be a president who believes in the rule of law. Somebody should also remind the Chief Justice that even in recent time, we've seen his idol, President Akufo-Addo, who she is desperate to contrive false narratives and testimonies about, refuse to publish an investigative report. Here I'm talking about the SML scandal.
Sami Jemfi is National Communications Officer for the NDC. Let's stay with the NDC because they have a reaction to the concerns raised by the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, that his comments about incentivizing churches instead of imposing taxes on them has been taken out of context. Joining me now is Deputy General Secretary for the NDC, Mustafa Gand. Thank you for your time here on JoyNews Today. First of all, before we go to that to get your reaction, the Electoral Commission, they have raised concerns that political parties have been actively involved in the registering of minors and foreigners in the voters' registration exercise. Well, how do you respond to this?
Thank you very much. A good afternoon to our listeners. It is not the Electoral Commission who raised this matter. It is us, the NDC, who raised it, because that is what is manifesting on the ground. So we are the complainants when it comes to foreign registration and minors. As I speak to you, I am holding evidence of Nandom constituency, the constituency of the former Minister for Interior, Honorable Ambrose Derry, where minors 14, 13 years were assembled and bussed yesterday to registration centers to come and register, only for us to drive them away by the vigilant citizens that we put around registration centers. Number two, in Lambuse, a large number of foreigners were brought in from Burkina to come and register, only for us to drive them away, because even when they are asked of their surname are Burkinabe names. We also have evidence of people who are using fake Ghana cards to aid people in order to register. So we cannot, as a party, be the ones, and they cannot play the game of equalization. All these are financed by the MPP, who now believe that Ghanaians cannot make them retain power or break the eight.
I'll have to
the
come
only
in
way
there.
to break the eight is
I'll
to
have
get
to come
foreigners.
in there, Mr. Gand, because these are allegations we cannot prove. Now, you say you have evidence. I'll be glad if you could share with me some of this evidence so that we're on the same page.
I've sent the evidence to some of your producers. The pictures are there. They can show it for.
Okay, I'm sure my producer is working to put that on the screens right now. So please go on to make your point.
So I've shared the evidence. So I speak to evidence. They should call the minister, former Minister for Interior, who himself is an elderly person, who have helped President Akufo-Addo to run down this country, and yet believe that it is foreigners and minors that can keep him in parliament as a member of parliament. They should call him and ask him. But as for us in the NDC, we have maintained that our vigilance is very high. It is only Ghanaians and Ghanaians only who will participate in this registration. Nothing more, nothing else. And one way of preserving the sanctity and the credibility of the ongoing process is the vigilance that we have put on the ground to ensure that anyone that we suspect to be a minor, anyone that is obvious to be a foreigner, we prevent the people from being registered. And so that is what the NDC is doing. Whenever the MPP is caught in an act, then they try to play issue of equalization to say, oh, it is all political parties who are doing it. We are not doing it. We are the ones who are oppressed. We are the ones who are seen and complaining to the public. We have become citizen vigilantes against what political fraud, electoral fraud the MPP wants to commit, inflict on the constitution, inflict on the people of Ghana. And so when we have exposed them, they say, oh, we don't have evidence. I'm just giving you evidence of what they do. They should give me evidence if they can find an NDC person doing that.
Now, the EC spoke to us earlier. They're disputing claims that, in fact, they failed to hold IPAC meeting before the registration exercise began. How do you respond to that? They say 2 meetings were held, one in March and one in April, which all political parties were invited. Did you attend that meeting?
You see, EC, Boss Manasari, not even EC, Boss Manasari as an individual have proven time on time to be one of the reasons the credibility of the Electoral Commission continue to sink every day and continue to be aligned to political opinions. One, EC on its own timetable gave a date, a specific date, when it will call an IPAC. It did not call the IPAC on that date. he had to take the NDC through our election director, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to write to the Electoral Commission under the hand of the General Secretary, reminding the Commission and also calling for an IPAC emergency meeting to discuss missing biometric registration devices. So what is he talking about?
Okay,
Scribble
made the point.
Ghanaians don't have memory.
So are you saying that you didn't attend any such meeting?
We, upon our writings to them, demanding for an emergency IPAC meeting, pursuant on their failure to call for a meeting which they placed in their own schedule, then they called a meeting. We attended that meeting. That was the meeting we gave them the 35 questions, which they have not been able to answer because they claim they don't have technical knowledge of it. And so they were now going to rely on their technical officers. Maybe today they will bring the answers, but they haven't been able to answer.
Very noted there, point well noted. Now let's talk about the Vice President's response. He's been clarifying that indeed he did not say that he would not tax churches. How do you respond to that?
Look, let us take Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia very seriously as a country. This is not the time to joke, because what has befallen our nation is about destiny and lives of a generation. When the MPP came to power under President Akufo-Addo and President Mahamudu Bawumia, they actually put up a bill to tax all churches in Ghana. Go and ask the clergy that if the MPP didn't put a bill together to tax churches, claiming that churches make a lot of money, go and ask the pastors in this country if they were not contacted. It took some wise people in Ghana to advise them that if they go on that trajectory, their party was going to become the most unpopular one. Hence, they abandoned that move. But surely, they will come back at it another time. So when Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia said he wasn't going to tax churches, nobody said anything. He came back saying that it was a joke. My sister, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama had a very similar talk, which Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia and his team are copying. But the stakeholder engagement which His Excellency John Dramani Mahama went across the country to do was devoid of comedy. It was a serious engagement with stakeholders, reflecting on solutions to our man-made problems created by President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. In those meetings, there was no comedy. We have today a flag bearer of the MPP who dances differently from the tune of a music that is being played at the background. We have a vice president who goes on those platforms only to laugh and crack jokes with the people of Ghana. Do not take Bawumia, do not underestimate what he says. Any pastor or any Christian who follows the MPP should know.
Thank you so much, Mustafa Gand. He is Deputy General Secretary for the NDC, raising some concerns there. He has come out to actually clarify that the NDC is not involved in the busing and registration of minors in the ongoing registration exercise, even though the EC was categorical that political parties are involved in the menace and they're worried about it. Let's do some other stories now. Residents and traders at BC Kumasi are living in deteriorating sanitation environment as filth engulf a major drain in the trading space. In this week's episode of our filth exhibition, Clinton Yeboah sheds light on the growing health concerns of an area swimming in rubbish. He filed this report.
Traders and households are equally culpable in the insanitary state of the Aboabo Old Railway Lorry Station. Indiscriminate disposal of solid wastes into drains in the area has left the environment drenched in stench and filth. Despite the cleaning routines of traders at the busy Aboabo Lorry Station, The big gutter is an abode of everything rubbish, including food packaging, empty plastic bottles and glasses, rotten food scraps, and fruit peels. People resort to urinating in the filthy gutters, heightening the stench consumed by residents of Roman Hill, Ashtown, and Abuabu. Traders and passerbys are exposed to health hazards.
They urinate here, and you can smell the waste, but we have to endure and eat here. They dispose their waste into the gutters when it rains. All the waste are from Alaba. It's not us, the traders. The gutters are choked with waste from residents around. A gutter like this should not be opened or exposed. It must be covered. Aside that, it must be drenched frequently.
Residents and traders attribute the worsening conditions to the neglect of local authorities to clean the area.
A man paying for more John Pani, a boiler way, any Joma Mayan Bassa, some more bay, Adia Mayamonga, a free power.
Look, country leaders, at how we are living and selling along with waste in this gutter. If sanitation task forces were working, would we be living around this?
Call for action have been mounting. The affected persons are demanding immediate intervention from the local government to address the stalled gutter crisis before it escalates.
We need to keep ourselves clean. There should be a barrier to sieve the waste from the water and separate them. Some boy near you go we are so in some central to they should quickly make markets ready for us to trade there. This isn't a healthy place to be.
Reporting for JoyNews, my name is Clinton Liabo.
You're still watching JoyNews Today. We're taking a quick breather. We'll be back with business. Do stay tuned in.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the business segment on JoyNews Today with me, Pius Kojo-Baka. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is pushing for increased investment in the development of fintech payment platforms to accelerate financial inclusion across the continent. Well, he's been speaking at the ongoing 3i Africa Summit. Let's go live there for some latest on that.
And I've already made this, and I'm very, very happy to do so. Another couple of areas that I think that it's worth talking about as far as the future of our country and the future of workers are concerned. Madam President was talking about migration to other countries. You know, when you look at our welfare, the welfare of our workers in Ghana versus the welfare of workers in the more advanced countries. If they pay you, 1,000 cedis in Ghana, you are stuck with 1,000 cedis. If they pay you $1,000 in Canada, you are able to spend $10,000. So your consumption possibilities increase. But why are they able to spend much more than their income?
because of credit. They have a credit system that works. Everybody is uniquely identified over there. Everybody has a credit score. And so a bank or any institution, a seller of furniture or TVs or whatever, can tell your credit score and whether to give you credit or not. In Ghana, we cannot tell the credit score of anybody. So we are all lumped together as bad credit because people go and borrow and they don't come back. So we are all paying for it. We pay high interest rates if we get the credit, but most of us don't get the credit at all. And this is why I have been very determined to change this situation for Ghana. Because if we don't have the system that allows us to develop a credit system, workers will always have a problem. The paycheck will not travel far. It wouldn't get to the end of the month before it is finished. And so we have to bring in a credit system. And we are actually very close now. And this is why we had to bring in the Ghana card to uniquely identify everybody. Without that, you cannot get credit scoring. We now know where everybody lives. We brought the digital address system. Everybody has a bank account. Even if you have a mobile money account, it works like a bank account because we've done mobile money interoperability between the bank account and the Momo account.
We shall be bringing you more from the 3i Africa Summit on the marketplace with Darryl Kwao. Now, antiseptic liquid brand Camel has rewarded the winner of the Camel Hand promotion, and we've got more in this report for you.
The Camel Treasure Hunt promo, an exciting 13-week campaign, rewarded patrons with prizes worth over 300,000 Ghana cedis. The promo recognized both consumers and distributors of Ghana's favorite antiseptic liquid brand, Camel. Hundreds of Ghanaians across the country were rewarded with various prizes, including shopping vouchers, weekly cash prizes, airtime, and more. Dorothy Opare, Category Brand Manager for Personal Care, explains the exciting Camel Treasure Hunt journey.
We wanted customers to buy the Camel antiseptic liquid. It had a beautiful sticker on the face of the product. And once you scratch, it reveals a number. You text that number to 1393 and then you receive a letter as well as instant airtime. Now the letter is the most important part of the whole promo because every time you text, you get a letter and you are supposed to get all the letters spelling Camel. So C-A-M-E-L. So every time you texted, you get one of these letters. And the customer was able to track over the 13 weeks, ensuring that they are getting all the letters and getting close to the finale. So our grand prize winner, who we saw today, actually received all the letters C-A-M-E-L. And so that's how come he emerged the winner.
Ghana's leading liquid antiseptic brand promises to offer retailers and consumers quality hygienic products.
Camel products is our treasure as Ghanaians, and we've been here for over 4 decades. We've had interesting promos. We had the buy and fly to Dubai for years. But we realized that our consumers are going through a hard time. The country in itself was going through a hard time, even us as a business. And so we wanted to reward our consumers for sticking with us, for staying with us. Consumers should expect more from Camel. As they know, we are the #1 leading brand in skincare and germ protection for the whole family. Our brand says say yes to life, and that is exactly what we are doing with our upcoming products relaunches, and also to look forward to a promo like this in a few months to come as well. And so we continue to churn out quality hygiene products, and we hope that they stay with us and stick with us along the journey.
That's it for business.
Time now to bring you sports on Joy News Today with me, Mustafa Gand. Since 2017, Ghana has not qualified to participate in a FIFA Under-17 FIFA World Cup. The country must do so via the WAFU Zone B Cup of Nations that will be happening tomorrow until May 29. Head coach of the team, Lyle Kingston, is convinced that the boys are ready to make their country proud. There's more in this report by my colleague, Daniel Cranton.
It's the 21st of September 1997. With just 3 minutes to go, the score is locked at 1-1 between Ghana and Brazil in the final of the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. Then, Brazilian wonder kid and soon-to-be Ballon d'Or winner Ronaldinho picks up the ball and threads an inch-perfect pass to teammate Andre, who scores the winner to break Ghanaian hearts.
Andre makes it 2-1 for Brazil and surely wins the Under-17 world title.
On the bench for Ghana that day is a certain 16-year-old midfielder by name Laie Kingston. He does not get his chance on that night in Cairo, but goes on to enjoy a stellar professional career where he represents Ghana's senior national team, the Black Stars, on 42 different occasions, featuring in 2 Africa Cup of Nations in 2006 and 2008. 27 years on from representing the Black Starlets at the World Cup, Kingston is now preparing to qualify the new generation of Ghana's under-17 stars for the global stage, this time as head coach.
For me, I think it's a privilege to coach these boys. You know, it gives me goosebumps, especially when we started the trials. Our time is different, different approach. I can see my time, that time, the 100% effort that I put in. That now I'm the coach that I see these young boys giving the same thing. The way I was feeling that time and looking at them, I believe they're feeling more than what I felt that time, because you can see the anger in them. So for me, I think it's a privilege to be part of people that is building this team. And so far, I think it's been amazing. You know, the boys have responded very, very well. It's different as a player, and it's different from someone staying out. But what stood out is I've been there before. So most of the time, that's one thing that helps me, and for me to have clear understanding about how they're feeling and all that. So I think it helps a lot.
It's been 7 years since the Black Starlets made it to the FIFA Under-17 World Cup, and this is the ultimate goal of Laie Kingston and his technical team.
That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com.
Good afternoon, you welcome to the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Sumayabwa. Now imagine this, Stevie Wonder, the popular Grammy-winning singer, trading his star-spangled American flag for the vibrant colors of Ghana. Yep, you heard me right. On his 74th birthday yesterday, he was handed Ghanaian citizenship as the ultimate gift. But it's not just about the passport swap. Stevie has got a mission and is about to groove us all into harmony during a time where there seems to be global crisis. He was speaking at a media engagement yesterday.
I, Stephen Morris, swear solemnly.
Stevie Wonder, decked out in his finest outfit, takes the stage not to belt out a tune, but to pledge allegiance to his new homeland, Ghana. And why? Well, let's hear it straight from the legend himself.
As I remember as a little child, boy, when I was growing up, and I listened to the music of Africa, wondering where was Africa and having a connect. Hearing the music of Mary Makeba, hearing the music of all the different people, emulating the sound, their voices, saying words that didn't make any sense. Whatever. But I love the sound of that. And so now that I am too a citizen of this country, my goal is to bring people together. In a time where there's division all over the world, I'm believing that the call is for us all to come together, to give voice to the voiceless.
Turns out Stevie has been itching to make this move for a while now. Why? Because he's tired of seeing racism rear its head everywhere he goes. His solution:
this problem doesn't just exist in one place. Unfortunately, it has existed all over the world. And this is why I say that we have to become a united people of the world. We have to let go of those things that have lasted but oh so long, that should have never existed. Hatred, racism, a lack of equality. We could go on and on and on. It happened for so long that it's time to say no. Why has it taken me so long? I had to get my money together.
Ghanaian musician Rocky Dawuni, who was also present last night at the media engagement, revealed that Africa's freedom hinges on reconnecting with folks from the diaspora.
A manifestation of prophecy. Our founding fathers, Kwame Nkrumah, stood on the podium during independence and said, the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it leads to the total liberation of the continent of Africa. But we know that the liberation of the continent of Africa cannot happen without the connection to the diaspora. It has to first connect with the diaspora. And connecting with the diaspora means a moment when our brothers and sisters in the diaspora will awaken as to where they can turn their gaze as a place that they can connect with the mother continent.
According to the CEO of Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Ajiman, Stevie Wonder's new citizenship is not just a formality, it's a symbol of hope for Ghanaians everywhere.
Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Your message of love, peace and unity through your music is a beacon of light in our world today.
On that note, it's a wrap for the showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Suma Iyabua.
Yes, exactly. It means the Beyond the Return agenda is actually working, because for government to actually put this out and we have foreigners coming to Ghana to take Ghanaian citizenship, does this mean I can also apply
to be an American?
To have a U.S. passport?
I think we should try that.
Sure, I'm sure I'll do that. Well, that's it for Joy News today. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. Some top stories there. Bawumia's running mate decided he'll make an announcement soon, and here on Joy News channel, we'll bring you up to speed with all that. My name is Faustina Safo. Have a pleasant day as you enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye.